Hello and I welcome you all to World Affairs. I am Prashant Dhawan. Now recently, US has actually warned India about a very serious Chinese spy mission. The United States government officials have told India that the Chinese spy balloon that was in news recently, I'm sure you must have heard about it a million times by now. The Chinese spy balloon. US Navy actually released images of the drowned Chinese balloon. This right here, this was the Chinese balloon that entered the United States of America a few weeks ago, and it floated over the US until the United States government decided that it's time to shoot this down, and finally it took a F-22 Raptor, a very advanced fighter jet, to shoot down this Chinese spy balloon. Now, according to the US, this wasn't a one-off case. This has been happening for years now. And US has warned a total of 40 nations that look, what happened to us has been happening to you as well, and it will happen in the future as well. Countries need to be prepared. Countries need to stand up to Chinese aggression, because these Chinese spy balloons that violate a country's territorial integrity, they simply will not be accepted. Now, before we discuss what kind of a warning did the US put out for India and the rest of the nations, before we talk about all that, let me tell you about the different opinions that are coming from US and China, how both the countries view this incident in a completely different way. Now, for example, in China, they are saying that US has overreacted. Over here you can see an article of Global Times and it is written F-22, the balloon killer. Because according to China, this balloon was harmless. This was just a weather research balloon, and China has released many such balloons around the Pacific Ocean, even near the South China Sea. So to use a F-22 Raptor was a huge overreaction by the United States. This is the opinion of the Chinese state, the Chinese media, and they even released some cartoons recently where an American pilot proudly introduces his F-22 Raptor to the world by saying, "I proudly present to you the F-22, the balloon killer." So according to China, this is not a huge moment, even though the Chinese side has protested the drowning of this balloon, and they have even told the US, give us the debris back, give us the remains of this balloon. All this that you see right over here, the Chinese side want their equipment back, but the United States government is saying that no, this was a military balloon. It was being used to spy on the United States. They simply cannot return back the debris of this balloon to the Chinese government. And interestingly, the US doesn't stop here. US even goes on to claim that this Chinese balloon is actually a part of a vast aerial surveillance program. Yes, the Chinese government has been conducting this humongous aerial surveillance program where, other than using satellites to spy on nations, they are also using these so-called weather balloons. They quietly enter a country's airspace, they start spying on the nation without their permission, and then they leave. And all this while, China keeps pretending that all this was done for scientific purpose. There is no need to get angry. Now, of course, one question that you guys can ask over here is, wait, so China has sent many spy balloons to the US in the past? I mean, this one, of course, US managed to shoot it down. But does the US government mean that in the past, China has used these balloons against the US and the US did not even know that these are Chinese spy balloons? Then yes. The US side is also claiming that many times in the past, perhaps in 2019, 2017, perhaps a lot of times the US Navy spotted these Chinese balloons near the United States, and at that time they thought, yeah, that must be an alien. That must be a UFO, an unidentified flying object. So the obsession about alien extraterrestrial life is so high in US that they even mistakenly thought that the Chinese spy balloon is actually a UFO. But now, of course, they see everything clearly. And the US wants the rest of the world to see all this clearly as well. The US is telling 40 nations that, look, you guys are prime targets of the Chinese vast aerial surveillance program. You need to protect yourselves from Chinese spying. And over here you can see the US has mentioned primarily 5 nations that are the topmost targets of the Chinese Air Force. Yes, according to the US, these Chinese spy balloons are part of a surveillance program operated by the People's Liberation Air Force, and their primary targets are Japan, India, Vietnam, Taiwan, and the Philippines. Now, one very basic question arises over here. Is India a bigger victim of Chinese spying or the US? Let me tell you something. It is the US. Let me show you a meme that is going viral all over US right now. So here you can see, by the way, this became really popular in US. One guy is crying about Chinese spy balloons spying all over US. He's saying, no, the Chinese are spying on me. And then the same guy moments later says, oh my God, look at these TikToks. He's already using an app that has been accused of spying on Americans on the behest of the Chinese government. And this reality is slowly dawning on the American population. They are slowly realizing, wait, the Chinese have been spying on us for years now. They are just doing this more openly, primarily because the United States has failed to ban TikTok for the longest time. I have seen multiple statements of US officials where they openly applaud Indian government's decision to ban TikTok because TikTok can be a threat to privacy. Yet millions of Americans are still using this Chinese origin app that is probably spying on them. At the same time, they are actually worried about what's in the air. Perhaps the US population needs to look down as well. They need to look inside their pocket and realize that they have been a victim of Chinese spying for many years now. Now, if we come back to India's position, you might be asking, what if this happens to us? What if one day we suddenly find out that there is a Chinese spy balloon floating over Uttar Pradesh or Bihar or perhaps some other northern state of India? What will we do then? What should India do then? Should we do what the US has done? It will not be easy for India to do what the US has done. Not just because we don't want to anger China, it's also because Russia, a very important partner of India, has openly criticized the US action against the Chinese balloon. The Russian government has said that the US reaction of using an F-22 Raptor against a Chinese spy balloon was rather hysterical, and the Chinese side acted responsibly in this manner. So, suppose if tomorrow India does the same thing, Russia probably won't be backing India, and the current Indian government will be facing a lot of pressure internally to act against the Chinese balloon if such a case ever happens. So, again, this balloon drowning incident is indeed a defining moment. No matter how much China tries to play it down, this is a defining moment, and in the future, the actions of major players in the geopolitical arena might get influenced by what US did a few days ago. So, in a nutshell, you haven't heard of the Chinese balloon for the last time. It will be in news, and if there is an update on this topic, I will make an updated video on it. So, right now, this is the end of this video. Thank you for listening, and as always, God bless you all.